Once upon a time, there lived two friends named WELTY and KAMEN. They were friends since they were in school and had not seen each other for a long, long time. Until one day, they ran into each other in a shopping mall. They were surprised and happy to see an old friend back. They began to tell each other the stories of their lives. WELTY told the story of his fabulous life in which he had plenty of time to spend with his family, which he could afford, because he never had any problems with his finances. Plus, he had the freedom to pursue his hobbies and be engaged in social activities. While KAMEN spent his days punching the clock, having no quality time to spend with his family, and his meager salary was spent paying the mortgage and the various installments on top of an ever-increasing cost of living. Seeing his friend's pitiful condition, WELTY shared a lot of inputs to his friend. He also told him the story of a boatman who became successful without having to trade his time for money.
Once upon a time, there lived a village chief who had a beautiful daughter. Her beauty was such that all the young men in the village fancied her. Irie was the name of the girl given to her by her parents. Of all the young men in the village, Irie only set her eyes on two of them. One was called Brito and the other Boaty. It was their spirit and ambition that really impressed her. Time passed and seasons changed until one fateful day a terrible disaster struck the village. A mighty earthquake had split the village into two parts, separated in the middle by a wide and deep river. The village chief and his family was now on the western bank of the river, while the two young men, Brito and Boaty, were on the eastern shore of the river. The two young men started to make rafts in order to cross the river to see Irie. They did not realize that these rafts brought them something unexpected. They began to make money crossing the villagers who wanted to see their families to the other side of the river. Time passed, and by next year, Irie would be 18 years old. According to the village tradition, a girl is entitled to choose her suitor when she reached the age of 18. Irie was so distressed. She could not make up her mind as to choose between Brito or Boaty. Seeing the dilemma of his daughter, the village chief finally decreed a contest. Whoever managed to collect 1,000 tiles of gold within 1 year will be entitled to marry his daughter. 1,000 tiles of gold was not a small amount of money then. Brito and Boaty were scatterbrained to find a way to collect that amazing sum. They could imagine the thousands of crossings they had to make for 1,000 tiles of gold to materialize. They worked harder and competed to cross more people in order to make the 1,000 tiles of gold. As days went by, they became smarter. Now they were not only building rafts, but boats to accommodate more people in one crossing, thus increasing their income. Brito realized that he could not work alone like this forever. After spending some time calculating, he decided that he could never come up with that sum of 1,000 tiles of gold crossing people to the other side. After giving some thought to the matter, Brito decided that he would build a bridge connecting the two halves of the village, and he would make money by doing that. Brito believed that by building the bridge, he would not only have the 1,000 tiles of gold, but he would never have to row his boat again, forever. Brito set his heart to build the bridge that he had drawn. Although he encountered strong opposition and ridicule by the villagers, who told him that building a bridge was a crazy idea, a waste of time, and would never make any money. While building the bridge, Brito still continued to cross people with his boat, because he realized that his bridge had not yet been completed and still to yield a single cent. By day he was crossing people with his boat, and by night and in his spare time he was building his dream bridge. While Boaty's income had now increased by crossing more people with his great energy, he could do more crossings in a day than Brito. His lifestyle began to change, and every day he wasted his money indulging himself. Winter had finally arrived. Brito finally finished building his bridge. The opening day of the bridge was greeted enthusiastically by the villagers. The price of crossing the bridge was much lower than the fare charged by the boats. Moreover, it was much safer crossing the bridge than a boat ride, which carried with it the risk of sinking. Brito's bridge functioned very well, and every day people paid to cross. Brito's income began to pour in steadily. He only needed to build a connecting pipe to let the money streaming into him. Naturally, this led him to be the first to collect the 1,000 tiles of gold required by the village chief. Meanwhile, Boaty's income dwindled every single day, more so as the winter approached and the waters of the river turned to ice. The villagers would much prefer to cross the bridge that Brito had built. There was no risk of sinking, and it wasn't slippery even when ice was present. Now even Boaty's strength began to fail him. He pushed himself too far. Poor Boaty. He traded all of his time for money, and now even he could not use his strong body to work. The expression on his face began to change. Now autumn had arrived, and Brito's dream finally came true. With confidence, Brito went to the house of the village chief to ask Irie's hand in marriage. Finally, Brito and Irie lived happily ever after, enjoying financial freedom, time freedom, and prosperity forever. Boaty finally realized that he had not made the right decision by continuing to rely on his strength to accumulate money.
After listening intently to the story, Kamen was beginning to think that he too was doing the same thing that Boaty did. All this time, he was trading his time for money. Arriving at home, Kamen still pondered Welty's word. Before going to bed, he finally made the decision to follow Welty's advice. That is, to make a smart move, like Brito did. How about you? Which method do you prefer? If you are still unsure, try answering the following question. Do you possess an income that flows continuously for 24 hours without you actually having to work for it? Are you relying on strength alone, or do you have a right system to produce money? Does your income continue to flow after you are gone? Can you quit work anytime you choose without sacrificing your income? Should you, for any reason, be out of work now, can you survive for the next year without a job? If you cannot say yes to all of these questions, then please contact or get the following VCD, Smart Idea by FaithNet, from the person lending you this VCD.